Okay, we're good to go whenever you're ready, Sarah.
Okay. Okay. Good evening and welcome to the December 9th, 2021 meeting of the Athens-Clarke County Planning Commission. In response to the coronavirus epidemic, this meeting is being held via WebEx online meeting platform, which is being broadcast on YouTube. Members of the public were provided the opportunity to email comments to the Planning Department prior to 12 noon yesterday. Members of the public may also address the Planning Commission in real time via electronic communication provided in the auditorium at 120 West Doherty Street. For those of you viewing the meeting remotely, you'll find the meeting agenda with the YouTube meeting address on the Planning Department website at accgov.com/planning. For those of you viewing the meeting from the auditorium, on the table by the auditorium door, you'll find copies of tonight's agenda and political campaign contribution disclosure forms for those wishing to speak in opposition to an agenda item before the mayor and commission. After staff presentation of the agenda item, we will receive public comment first from the applicant, then from those in the auditorium. 10 minutes are allowed to address the commission for the applicant or their representative, and also for any specified interest group representative who has requested additional time prior to the meeting. 3 minutes are allowed for anyone else who wishes to address the commission. After the public comment, the applicant or their representative may request a 2-minute response. Once the public hearing is closed, the Planning Commission will proceed to discuss and act on the item. When addressing the commission from the auditorium, please speak from the designated place as directed by staff. Please, for all speakers, please provide your name, address, and occupation for the record. For those in the auditorium, a timer device will be used. Please respect those limits. Let's see, I'm forwarding a little bit because our auditorium is empty. Please direct comments to the Planning Commission, not to the applicants. For everyone participating in this evening's meeting, please turn off or silence your cell phones. For commission members, please mute your microphone if you're not speaking. Use the chat box if you have any technical issues. Raise your hand to your camera if you'd like to speak, and please wait to be recognized. And remember that the meeting is being recorded. Okay. Okay, so first item of business is the introduction of staff reports and other documents. So I'm looking for a motion to accept those. Alice?
So moved.
Okay, do we have a second? Great, Jim Anderson. All in favor, please raise your hand and say aye. And opposed?
Aye.
Great, okay. Okay, the approval of the November 4th, 2021 Planning Commission meeting minutes. Is that you, Jim? Jim moves to approve, and do we have a second? Alice?
Second.
All in favor, please raise your hand or say aye. And all opposed? Okay, great. Rick, do we have any May courts information tonight, review or public comment?
I have no report.
Okay, great. Okay, so we can get to our first item of new business. That's 240 West Clayton Street. We'll start with our staff report.
Okay. Do you guys see the full screen?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so this is 242 West Clayton Street. Is a special use in the commercial west downtown design area to allow ground floor residents. And just so you know, there are other residences being proposed in the building, such as a second floor and the basement level, but those are by right. So the only real special use that we'd be granting is the ground floor dwelling. So this is a location map showing us the current Chick Music building, and that would actually, the commercial storefront would remain. The ground floor dwelling would be in the back of the building. And this is an aerial view. You can see it's like two buildings put together with a zero lot line. I'm sorry, it's the same lot, zero setback. So there's an alley on the east side. There's an alley in the back. There's not an official easement or an alley on the west side, but it is open right now. So occasionally we'll have cars parking in that area for the business next door. So the property is about 0.18 of an acre and does contain a commercial use building. The special use is for that ground floor residence behind the commercial storefront. This will be a 2-bedroom unit, and overall there would be 5 dwelling units and 7 bedrooms in addition to the store. And we're only talking about that west side building. The other side's not being affected. So you go back here. So the gray, darker roof here is not, that side's not being affected at all. It's just the building on the west side. So it did go through the Historic Preservation Commission, and they approved a certificate of appropriateness for the architectural compatibility. There's a few changes, of course, adding residences. They need to add some fenestration, some doors and windows. And so I'll show you some elevations in a second, but they did approve the architectural changes. There's no change to the downtown future land use designation. And we do have a binding report and a plan for that ground floor residence. Future land use again would not change, staying downtown. And then the zoning map would just add the triangle for the special use. So this is the building. You can see the white front building here. That's also on the same lot, but it's not being affected. And then you see the Chick Music, which is where upstairs we'd have the residences, but the commercial storefront on the ground would remain. So there'd really be no change of visibility from the front. Just some pictures around the current site as it looks. This lower right is where you would see like a car park there. That is actually on the property next door. But there would be a 4-foot walk protected by, I believe, bollards are being proposed. So no one could park within 4 feet of this building. And that would allow the egress in case of fire, or there'll be some windows also here, but not to block any of the doors and windows with vehicles. So they'll make sure of that. And that's what the fire marshal, he had some concern with, and then that got worked out with the proposed bollards. The bottom left is the back, and then the top right is the other alley on the other side of the building. So that will stay open as well to get to the back side of the building. This is the ground floor. You can see the existing ground floor is just open all the way as one unit. The proposed ground floor would have the retail in the front and the dwelling in the back. And you can see we're adding windows, and the 2 doors would remain. And then just a color rendering, again, showing that dwelling unit in the back, the retail store in the front, and then the other side would remain all commercial in that other building. And just some architectural drawings of the changes with the extra windows and door. And so staff comments are, there are some other nearby mixed-use structures, mixed commercial and residential. The ground floor residence at the rear of the building would not affect the commercial storefront, and it conforms to the downtown designation, the future land use designation, and all the zoning standards. The property changes are limited to a few exterior building improvements that were approved by the Historic Commission. And the fire marshal did change from the original report of denial. He has now recommended approval with consultation with the architect. I can explain more perhaps about that this evening, but the fire marshal has revised his recommendation to approve with the comment that residential egress shall be protected. And that concludes the staff report.
Great, thank you. Okay, now we'll hear from our applicant. Oh, Chris, you're muted.
Is that better?
Yep, we can hear you.
Thank you, sir. My name is Chris Evans. I live at 155 Edward Circle. Appreciate Rick and his report and I think Rick has been hand in hand working with us to get this to where it is today. Rick is correct. The fire marshal didn't deny it, and then we worked with him to find a way to get people safely to the public right of way. And it wasn't really so much about our building, it was really about the buildings behind our building. And so with a series of bollards on the back side, the north side of the building, and a couple bollards on the west side of the building, I will say it's probably safe to say the fire marshal felt like it was the Wild Wild West back there, and he's very appreciative of our bollards being installed to help control cars from people. I'm here for any questions.
Great. Okay. Robert, is there anyone in the auditorium to speak to this item? Doesn't look like it.
There is not. Just Commissioner Houle is here.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, I think we can begin our discussion. Would anyone like to kick it off? Alice?
Yeah, I'll just kick it off by commenting very briefly. I really like this plan, and the reason why I like it is because it is finding places to kind of tuck residential in ways that do not negatively impact our street fronts on the main streets. I understand the need for the variance, but I think this is a very reasonable request, and I intend to support it.
Great. Anybody else? Matt?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask the applicant for clarification. If I may have misunderstood something that Rick said about the driveway where these bollards are going to be, but if I understood correctly, they're on the other property. So does that mean that your fire exit that's protected by the bollards is not under control of the owner of this parcel?
No, it's not. Actually, there's actually, if we can go to the site plan, it's kind of confusing a little bit. But we actually spoke with the representative of the property next door, and they were good with the bollard. Can you go to the site plan, Rick? And we're only putting one bollard at the street in about the center, and that's a removable bollard. And the fire marshal wanted us to create a knock box so that it can be unlocked, and that will still give access to the side door to the REM building.
So is the property line of the Chick Music building where the building wall is?
I need to see the other site plan. There was a site plan. Let's see. I don't know where the site plan is. There's one that shows the boundary lines, and I don't see it in the report.
Chris, they'll have everything you submitted in their packet.
So go back to the colored one. That's fine.
So there's a certain, if you have something in front of you, Chris, you could.
No, it's good. You can just go to the colored one.
I'll find it.
It's super. So
The
240.
the commissioners have one in our possession too, the AS 1.0. Is that the sheet you're talking about? Okay, we have that.
That's it. Let's see. Hold it up closer, Alice. Let's see. Yeah, that looks it. So the property line for 240 is 4 feet off the west exterior wall. We own 4 feet of that alley. So the alley is 4 feet. Our property at 4 feet, and then it's 8 feet, and then it's the parcel. I think it's 250 maybe is the REM building, and so the drive in the middle is actually public. It's a public right of way. So, and we're doing everything within the public. So this is a way, I feel like, honestly, I feel that, sorry, I got dogs. I honestly feel that the fire marshal is finding this to be a success because now we are providing some control to the alley, and we're allowing people to get out more safely without, there it is right there. That's it. So the bollard would sit in the 8-foot strip between our property line and that double line there where the wall is on the west or the left-hand side. So I think this is a way that the fire marshal, they've been struggling with this parcel, and not really this parcel, but the one to the north, because of the being a restaurant and bar, and they felt like our bollard recommendation is going to help control people and cars.
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
It does. Yeah. Thank you.
It is removable. It's all removable, so we're not closing the door.
Let's see.
Anyone else?
Yeah, maybe just to piggyback off that, because I'm still not quite clear, and maybe this is because this is the first time I've ever heard the word ballard, so new definition for me. But
Yeah.
so is the idea then that, like I know in that example photo there was the car in the alleyway. Is the idea that nobody can now drive through because that would
Correct.
be an issue?
That is correct. So now you got to think about that alley is used for the buildings to the north. So if there is an emergency to the building to the north of our building, all those people funnel around the alley to get to Clayton Street. And currently now everyone parks in that alley, as you saw in that photograph. So our bollard, which is, if you look at the photograph, there's a yellow one next to the gas meter, that's a bollard.
Okay.
So ours will be removable per the fire marshal. What they do is it's called a Knox box. It's KNOX box. And it's basically a device that has a code. And the fire marshal can go in, put the code in, get the key, and they can remove the bollard. And then so now they can go down and access and save people's lives.
Man, this is like my vocabulary meeting because now I know what a Knox box is too. I always saw them
Yes.
wondering what they did.
So the other, if you go back, so on the north side, we own almost 10 feet of the alley on the backside, and we're going to put bollards all the way across that, because what's happening is the restaurants to the north of our parcel are parking in front of that building, which has kind of been a problem with the owner anyways. And this is a good way to kind of get some organization back there.
Okay. Thank
But
you.
I will say that, and it's in our report, it's sad to see businesses shrink and slow down, but it is designed where someone could actually come in and reuse it as an office at some later moment in time. And that's why we have a ground floor access door.
Just to clarify, so the priority of the fire department is pedestrian egress, and then their ability to get vehicles back in there. But is their priority to kind of keep cars out of there because they view cars as inhibiting those two things?
Well, yes, it's blocking people from walking down there. And when we met with Alfonso and Rick, and not this Rick, but all the photographs they showed us, there was 4 cars packed in that alley, and they don't really want that at all. And so it's really not a parking lot, right? That's why we have parking offsite. That's why, you can park anywhere downtown. You just really can't park in the alley. So we're trying to separate cars from vehicles from people.
Sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, anybody else? Jim?
Yeah, I would say that the parking on that west side access drive was a real concern to me, and I'm really glad to hear that you're finding a way to minimize it, because it could cause all kinds of trouble in the future.
I would agree.
So Rick, we just have one vote on this item, right? Okay.
That's correct. Yes.
Katie, did you have another comment?
Yeah, I just had a comment. I wanted to praise the applicant for talking about future reuse and having an adaptive space. I think that's just a really great principle as we look at good built environment forms for downtown. And yeah, just commenting on the zoning ordinance again, I think it's ridiculous that we have parking. But I'm glad that they're allowed to be met offsite, because otherwise that would incentivize demolishing our downtown as it is pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
That's my comment.
Katie? I think we're ready for a motion. Is anybody interested? Alice?
I will go ahead and make a motion to approve. I'm sorry, I lost my staff report. Are there conditions that I need to add, Rick? No.
Not anymore, not with the revised report.
Great. Okay, so motion to approve is presented.
Great. And Jim?
Second.
Great. Okay, all in favor, please raise your hand or say aye. Great, looks like it's unanimous. Thank you. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, Chris. Quick and dirty, that's good.
So I'm good.
Yep, you're all set.
All right. I'm gonna log off. See you guys later. Have a great night.
Yeah, Chris.
Thanks, you too.
Good to see you guys. Bye.
Bye. Okay, great. So I do not have a commission chair's report. Rick, do you have anything you want to report to us?
Yeah, the Tuesday night Mayor Commission actions. The first one was the old business item of the grading ordinance, and this one actually may not be done yet. There was a motion to approve, and it failed 5-4 because apparently you have to have 6 affirmative votes. The mayor couldn't vote because it wasn't a tie, so we had 1 missing commissioner. Well, they moved on from there. But now the last thing I heard is that they actually needed a motion to take care of the business. So it's kind of just left hanging out there without a motion that passed, some motion that passed. So the last I heard is at least I don't know if Lisa knows any more about this, but our attorney's office is looking at this to see if it should be reconsidered at the January meeting. So there's still a chance that if it is reconsidered, that if all the commissioners are there, anyway, it could have a different vote, and that's so this is iffy. We haven't heard the last. I don't think we've heard the last of it yet, if that's been decided. But as for right now, it did not pass. So then moving on, Dublin Street was approved, no problem. Approved with the condition that you guys recommended. Spring Valley was tabled. There were a lot of folks who spoke, from the neighborhood again. There was a talk about perhaps limiting uses, such as a distribution center, as well as some kind of buffer up along the street, along Spring Valley. So they asked the applicant to, try to get with the neighborhood. I know it's Christmas season, but to try to get with the neighborhood and come back at their January meeting. So perhaps looking for some kind of win-win there in that situation. And then the Riverbend Road was also held up till the January meeting. Was tabled as well to January 4th. Normally they don't hear zoning items in January, but since those were tabled, they can only table up to 40 days. So they'll hear both Spring Valley and Riverbend at their January meeting. And then Pulaski Street was approved with the conditions you recommended. The text amendment for the RS zone rear setback was also approved. That concludes the staff report.
Alice, if you don't mind me putting you on the spot, or maybe between Alice and Lisa, you can explain that first item, the 5-4 vote needing 6 affirmative. What exactly? I'm a little confused by that.
I will totally defer to Lisa. All I remember is that you do need more votes than a simple majority to change an ordinance.
Oh, okay. Is that, Lisa, do you have anything to add, or is that about?
That's about it. And we discussed it a little bit. I think Judd was just going to explain to them that basically there was no action taken, so that it does need to be reconsidered.
Oh, okay. And so what is needed if a simple majority won't do, what is needed to what vote would have worked in that case?
I think I heard the mayor mention 6 votes.
7, Alice?
7 votes? Okay.
Okay.
I remember 7, but I've been off the commission since 2012, so Lisa would be more up to date on.
And
Okay, that's Good to know. I just
I
sort of
was-
curious.
I was in the green room and there was a lot of echo out in the hallway, so I couldn't hear that well. But we're still waiting to hear. I guess as Lisa mentioned that they'll advise the mayor and commission about what to do at the January meeting. So it's not settled yet.
Commissioner Hool says that it is 6 affirmative votes.
6 affirmative votes is what is needed to change an ordinance.
Yeah.
And the other day it was 5-4. Is that right?
5 in favor, 4 against, I believe.
Okay. Got it. Right. And so I see what you're saying, that because it wasn't a tie, the mayor couldn't break it. There was no tie to break. Okay.
Yeah, Commissioner Wright was missing, so it just depends on, I think it may depend on attendance at the January meeting. It's that close right now, so.
Okay. Well, great. We may be coming to the end of our shortest planning commission meeting ever, which is awesome for the holidays. So, does anyone else have anything?
Congratulations, Sarah, for presiding over that.
I just, did Alice or Matt want to talk about the draft ordinance we're trying to get ready?
Yeah, that would be great. Is there any update on that?
Yeah, I'll start and then Matt can add. We have a draft ordinance that the committee has worked really hard on, and the staff support for us has been really amazing as we've been doing this, and Lisa's been involved in these meetings, so I'm including her in that. Got a very deep bench in the attorney's office, which is great. Plus Matt, who's an attorney who can talk attorney. But our next meeting is going to be this Friday, and it's actually going to be a meeting with some developers that Brad and planning staff has identified as working not only just here in Athens, but also nationally. So they would have encountered inclusionary zoning ordinances in other places. So we're going to basically have that as a focus group and get their feedback on it so that we can anticipate as much as we possibly can before we send it forward to the mayor and commission. A big theme of our discussion that we don't really know what the right incentives are until we try them out. So, we're kind of taking our best shot. But I think the developers will help us to kind of understand how this works in other places. So, Matt, go ahead and add anything you care to.
Yeah, no, I think that about covers it. We had originally scheduled this meeting with the developers for December 3rd, but then several of them asked to push it back 2 weeks so they could have a little more time to go over the draft ordinance with, I imagine, with their lawyers and other people and give us more detailed feedback. So we pushed it back to the 17th, and they'll give us feedback there. And then I think we anticipate that the working group will get together one more time depending on what that feedback is, to revise as appropriate before we send it on up.
And what is the procedure? Will it just go right to the mayor and commission? Do we look at it? How will that work?
I think, and Alice, correct me if I'm wrong, you have a much more deep base of knowledge on this. I think the idea was that we would present it to the planning commission, and then the planning commission would send it on to the mayor and commission. But I can't swear to that.
Yeah, I believe it's running up like a zoning ordinance amendment. So we're adding a new chapter to the zoning ordinance.
Yeah, Rick made the.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Alice. Did you want to?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know if it's my internet or somebody else's, but I'm kind of in and out. I know. My understanding is that it would come before the planning commission first, as any major zoning change like this would. So we'll be the first avenue for public input, and then it'll go on to the mayor and commission.
Yeah, and I think Brad has mentioned 2 readings by the planning commission, probably an introduction, just so you guys have a chance to look over it, and then coming back, as a second meeting to vote on it.
Great. Yeah, I was just about to add that if we if you hadn't said there was going to be 2 meetings, I would just ask maybe that's something that doesn't come to us the 1 week before packet, but rather be something we get a little more time. In the interest of time, the longer we have with it, the more intelligent of discussions we can have about it, rather than kind of
Right.
slamming it in along with a bunch of other applications we have to look at. So, well, that sounds
Yeah,
great. Is there
Yeah,
anything?
especially right now, January looks very busy. So, so this was a nice break because January's going to go back to a busy night. So.
Yeah.
I believe that at our last meeting, Brad mentioned that he was hoping to bring this forward in the February cycle for the Planning Commission. So, or maybe he was hoping to get it to the Mayor and Commission for the February cycle, but that's probably not going to happen unless we can have a first read in January. But anyway, we'll let the planning staff figure that out. Obviously, this committee, the inclusionary zoning group, is really eager to get this in front of the public and, hopefully get it passed.
Jim?
I have a general concern that this can't come soon enough because we've seen an awful lot of properties in the last several months going in the $400,000 to $600,000 a year range, and that's where Athens is going to be unaffordable for ordinary people if we don't do something about it soon.
Hear, hear. Yep. Okay, well, does anyone have another comment they wanted to make about that or anything else? If not, I hope everyone has some planned time off over the holidays and that you enjoy your friends and family and whoever else. I can't believe it's going to be 2022 in 3 weeks or less. That's totally crazy, but the further we can put 2020 behind us, the better. Like another couple years bumper between 2020 and the present sounds good to me. Okay, so I guess I need to entertain a motion to adjourn. If anyone is willing to do that, I'll take Matt, and seconded by Kristen, and thirded by Alice. Okay, all in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, thank you very much, everybody, and it's been a good year. So we'll see you in January. Thanks a lot.
Bye,
Thank you.
everybody.
Bye.
Thanks, Sarah. Bye. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Likewise.
Rick, do you need anything from me, or are we all set?
No, just yeah, happy holidays to you too.
Okay.
Heard we may be getting some snow flurries soon, perhaps. So maybe we have a white Christmas.
That would be